some of the challenges working with our clients are typically not very well organised in their day-to-day lives. They typically have strong emotional reactions to things that are happening in their day-to-day lives, and because of some of the changes in cognitive functioning that they have, they're less able to regulate their emotional responses and their behaviour. So, for example, most of us are familiar with getting frustrated, for example, doing some DIY or trying to work on something and it's not working out, and that may occur relatively infrequently. For someone with kinds of problems that would lead them to our service, they're likely to have problems with successfully completing day-to-day tasks, on top of which they're likely to have difficulty managing the sort of frustrated or stressed response in relation to challenges, and they're less able to kind of think through what they need to do in the situation and problem solve it and calm down and go back to the task and work through it systematically. So we're interested in using SenseCam Movie along with an ECG trace of someone's physiological arousal to try to identify sections of SenseCam Movie that are of emotional trigger situations for an individual. And then in reviewing the arousal changes on the graph of the ECG along with the SenseCam Movie, hoping to improve the person's ability to monitor those emotional changes so that they're better able to notice sooner when they're getting stressed and therefore more able to take compensatory action to reduce their stress. It's typical of our clients that it's only very, very late in the stages of them losing their where they've thrown something and then they realise that they've lost it, or after the event when somebody points it out or they recall what's happened, that they realise that they've actually been a bit over the top. What we were interested in was whether we could harness the sort of the impact of reviewing SenseCam movies to really help that person get a much richer recollection of particularly the build-up to the trigger incident. So that we could actually help them to tune into those physiological signals that they were becoming stressed and learn to notice and respond to those. Intervention would normally have the same kind of principles, but you'd be relying on verbal recall, which may be a bit hit and miss. And then you have to work with your client, and it takes quite a lot of skill and practice to try to help the client to reconstruct a rich and elaborate recollection of the trigger incident. And often they'll throw in their assumptions and opinions rather than what was actually going on. So, yeah, SenseCam as a way of boosting, if you like, or intensifying what you're trying to achieve in a client group who can be variable in their ability to recall and focus on the sort of key tasks in therapy.